Good afternoon. I might be a little clunky with stuff today, and the stream might be a little jerky. Um, but so far as output, we're in the green. So that's awesome. Why does that make a difference? Because we are streaming out on three platforms today instead of our usual two. And I am showing green across the board. However, my CPU is absolutely pegged hard. I mean, it's really pegged hard. So if I've got buffering on YouTube, that would be why. So I will get that dealt with. I will at some point. I'm going to redo Windows on this computer, and that in itself will be a big help in dealing with it. So what's the deal? What's going on today? It's been one of those days, but I'll tell you what. Aaron up at Highland Geek has been a blessing beyond words. Um, so the thing was, what was going on with my internet Friday is they had everything done that they needed to do up at the office. What I didn't know is I needed to configure the router, and the issue with that was you kind of can't get there from here. The settings that I needed to configure in the router I couldn't even get to. So I'm actually using that connection now, but I'm on a different router and I'm ghosting a Mac and all that. Tomorrow I'm going to deal with getting that router to them so they can get the settings put in there, and we'll go from there. So, but we are on the new internet line, and again, that's why I'm blasting out on three platforms. The eventual goal, and I see my CPU coming down a little bit. That helps. And so my eventual goal is to stream out on four, if not five platforms. That's my mission. That's my goal. Like I said, I am green. I'm absolutely green on this end, which I wouldn't have been on the other internet. I wouldn't even. It would have knocked me off all streams if I would have tried to blast out the three different platforms. So I know, been there, tried that. So anyway, that's what spent most of the day doing, was finding out why can't I get this router that I've got from them to connect to the internet. Well, now we know, because it has to be certain things has to be entered into the router settings, in which I can't enter. It won't allow me to enter that. So it is what it is. So let's see here. Let me double check everything. I don't think I can close this window and get back to it. You know what? I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try anyway. We'll see. Oh yeah, actually I can. I think. Let me close that. That ought to really. Yeah, there we go. I really backed off my CPU there. Sweetness, sweetness. Now I'm back to where I normally am, and I should be able to get back in my settings to be able to shut that off. I remember how to do it now. It's been a while since I streamed on Facebook, so it's been a little while. Um, so that is what is up. Now, after the show, I'll probably be hard at work on the web server and getting that configured up. I learned a lot today, believe it or not. I learned a lot about networking, which is a weak point of mine. It's always been a weak point of mine. So there is definitely, without a doubt, silver lining to this cloud here. And it's not really a cloud. It was just a setback. But the good thing is I learned a ton, and I understand where I was going wrong with setting web servers up, and I understand. I get it, and that's a good thing. It's always a good thing when things start to click in my head. I'm one of those hands-on people. I learn much better by being hands-on and screwing something up a few times. I learn better that way, and it sticks deeper that way. So, if any of that makes sense. But anyway, let's see here. Let me go ahead and get the housekeeping out of the way, because I got a doggo that, it's 4 o'clock, so it's time that she wants to go out. That's the way that works. Let me get the housekeeping out of the way, and I'll keep the monologue a bit short today. This is awesome, though. I am so glad to be able to broadcast out on this many platforms. That is awesome. Definitely awesome. So let's see here. Let me do a rundown of numbers where we are financially on Steam It. I just put some. I just transferred it over just a little bit ago, not even an hour ago. So we've got a whole 4.746. And why don't I say dollars? Because that's Steam dollars. We've got $4 and 4.746 Steam dollars, which is different than USD. So that's why I didn't want to say it necessarily with dollars because it's not USD. But anyway, that's where we are setting at Steam. We've got a couple more that's going to be coming in. Let's see. We've got right here is one, which it shows 418 will be coming in tomorrow. But for whatever reason, I don't get all that 418. I'll get like say 350 of that. So that'll be coming in tomorrow. We got another one here showing 418 in 3 days. Again, that'll be like another 350. So that's where we're at on the on the Steam It account. So that's awesome. That's already been blowing YouTube just absolutely out of the water. So speaking of YouTube, this is where we're sitting, 3126. That's what's in there, and I don't get why it's so high. It's not normally that high, but if you've been paying attention throughout the days, it goes up less than like 25 cents a day, right? So it's not like you get a lot from YouTube. You'll see that. Once this gets cleared out of here and we're back down to goose eggs on YouTube, you'll see it pays nothing. AdSense, we got big old goose eggs on the right side. Why is that? Well, that's because they paid out today. So within the coming days, within either tomorrow or the next day, we'll be able to get the buckets ordered for the water filter and get on those projects. I've got the emergency water filter project. We got to get some sand and some rock for that. And then I've got another water filter project that I'm going to try and sneak out the parts for. And because of something that was mentioned in chat. And that was, we were talking the other night about the life straws, and I was playing a review video about, I don't remember the name of the filter, but, I think it was a disposable one. But nonetheless, it was brought up. I think Evil had mentioned that you don't want to use a life straw and then put it up and say, like, go back to it a year and try to use it again, because of the bacteria and the yuckies and nasties that are in there growing, would be a really bad idea to do. I agree. And so I got to thinking, and I do know that there are more expensive, emergency type water filters out there that you can repack. You can put new stuff in. And I got to thinking about that. You could build a refillable water filter cheap. Something similar to like a life straw type of an idea, and something that you could rebuild using the same materials that you would in the emergency water filter that I'm going to show you. So that's going to be another water filtration project that we bring to you. So now that's 3 water filtration projects that we're going to be bringing to you, hopefully all of them within the coming couple of weeks. So I can't wait. I am so stoked about that. That's what I want to do this summer. I want to bring you guys projects. I want to bring you guys practical things that can be done inexpensively, and that would not only help you in daily life, but of course help you in an emergency situation. So that's awesome. That's a good thing. Looking at $7.11 right now in estimated earnings for Google AdSense. That is for folks that come and click on the ads on the website. So that helps. I'm telling you, it helps. If I could get 2 or 3 people to click on an ad maybe 2 times a day or 3 times a day, you have no idea how fast that would fill that box up there. So it's really awesome. It really is. It helps a lot. It's one more thing that just blows YouTube absolutely out of the water. And it doesn't cost you anything. You don't have to buy anything, sign up, nothing. You just click the stupid ad. I would do it, but they'll figure that out pretty quick, and then I'll get booted off of AdSense, and I don't want to do that. So anyway, that's where that number there comes from. Okay, so let me read through the Twitter stuff, and I'm just going to read the headlines to you. I don't know of anything to really go on a rant about. It seemed like there was something over the weekend I was throwing a fit about. I can't remember what it was now. Something news-wise. I can't remember what it was. Who knows? We might see it here. Anyway, Saudi Arabia intercepts missile from Yemen after Houthis target military airport. How dare they? Nicolas Maduro wins Venezuelan presidential election, says the preliminary data. Paraguay opens embassy in Jerusalem following U.S. example. Can you believe that? I can't. I can't. I absolutely cannot believe this, what is going on. I'm at a loss for words. I know what words I want to say, but I'm trying to refrain from saying it. Okay, no, I'm not. They're whoring out Jerusalem. That's exactly what they're doing. They are whoring out Jerusalem. That is insane. That is insane. And I'm sure a lot of people have a little bit of a different view on it than I do. But, that's how I see it. That's how I see it. That's how I call it. Baku rocked by explosion. 2 dead, 2 injured. Might have been a shooting that had happened over the weekend I was throwing a fit about. Let's see. Reports man punches. Sorry, let me repeat that. Reports say man punches pregnant woman and service dog on frontier flight to Orlando. What the hell is wrong with people? That's what I don't get. I just absolutely do not get what is wrong with people. U.S. to apply strongest sanctions in history on Iran, says Pompeo. Which, by the way, just hurts the people. Pompeo, and that's something that gets me too, right? And the next headline's essentially the same thing, but that's something that gets me too, right? So what is it that they expect? Do they expect that by putting these sanctions on, Iran, as in like the Iran government, that it's going to cause hard times for the people of Iran? Do they think that the people of Iran are going to step up and make the government of Iran change? Well, it might sound good in theory, but I want you to ask yourself a question. How effective are we at changing the policies of our country right now? Does our country listen to us? Hell no, they don't. Hell no, our government doesn't listen to us. Not one bit. They absolutely do not. So how could we expect the Iranian people to convince the Iranian government to do anything differently? Not that I'm saying the Iranian government even needs to do anything differently. I'm just saying, if that's the thought process behind these sanctions, then it's failed from the beginning, is it not? It makes no sense. Strongest sanctions in history. That's the same. Did I tweet 3? Yeah, 3 different things. 3 different tweets all on the same thing. That's rare. Sorry about that. Gina Haspel sworn in as new CIA head amid criticism over torture program. Israel summons envoys from Belgium, Spain, Slovenia over UN Gaza vote. Unknown people in masks open fire in France's Marseilles. Insane. Trump orders to prevent Venezuelan officials from selling off public assets. Can we have that done in the United States too, please? Please? Why do we do this stuff, right? Another country does something, right, and we're all up in arms, right? If there's protests in another country and the government, lightly comes down on the protesters, the U.S. is all like, oh my God, they did this, right? All the while, the U.S. government is tear gassing and doing everything else crazy to the protesters here. What? I look at that as the same way. It's like, wait a minute, all of our public assets have been sold off. If you don't believe me, check out what happened to the national parks. Russian air defenses intercept projectile targeting I don't know how to say it, base in Syria. So Russian air defenses. Now that's the first time that I've seen that step up. Okay, I've every other time that air defenses were involved, it's always been Syrian air defenses. So this is interesting. Now we are actually hearing about Russian air defenses. So that's something to keep an eye on, without a doubt. that's going to cover the stuff that I had tweeted out. And like I said, I'm going to keep the monologue really short today. I literally got home not that long ago. I got back home, haven't even had but maybe 2 sips of my coffee. So I'm going to keep the monologue a bit short today and get right into to video content. So, wow. Fun, fun, fun. Let me get all these closed out. That'll help out my CPU a little bit too. Get that screen back over there. I've got screens all over or windows all over the place, like usual, but they're a little less organized today. The shootings, yeah, the shootings I think is what I was kind of carrying on about because of, just automatically, bam, it goes right into gun control. And it makes no sense. And I keep asking the same question. I'm not the only one asking the question. And I'm speaking of the incident in Texas. Did he legally have the guns? The answer is no. So what laws would have prevented it? And some people are saying, well, they need to, lock the dad up in jail too. They were his guns. Look, I don't care what you do. If somebody's got the will to do something, they're going to do something. Period. Okay? So, laws are not going to help this problem. They're not. And believe me, I'm sure that father is beyond distraught right now. I'm sure that father is so tore up inside that it's absolutely incredible how bad he feels. I'm sure he feels responsible. Okay? This is not something that any human being that's not in some type of mental crisis. Now use my words, right, for what I said. For what I said. Because we're too easily attaching this to, okay, well, mental illness is the problem. Okay? Not necessarily. There's a difference between having a mental illness and having a mental crisis, and we need to understand that. Because if we don't understand that, then we're not going to be able to get to the root of the problem. Okay? It's not about going after people that have PTSD. It's not about going after people that might be labeled as bipolar. Okay? Or any other number of diseases, both real and made up, by our wonderful psychology department of the United States. Okay? So we have to be very careful of this. There's a difference between having a mental illness and having a mental crisis. 2 different things. Okay? And so just because somebody doesn't have a mental illness does not mean at all they won't have a mental crisis, okay? The difference is one is chronic and the other is temporary. That's the difference. So to fix the root of the problem, to address the root of the problem, is we have to go to the problem and we have to find out what caused the problem. Now we know the root. Okay? And I haven't dug into this enough to know, but I have seen reports about some incredible amounts of bullying that this guy put up with. Okay? And I'm not excusing his actions. I'm not excusing his actions. But what I'm saying is we need to stop. We need to stop blaming guns. We need to stop blaming this. We need to stop blaming that. Maybe we need to start blaming ourselves. Okay? And I'm not necessarily talking about you and I per se. Right? But we need to be careful about how we interact with other people. Okay? In other words, don't be a douche canoe. Okay? Try to be a decent person. Try to be a decent person. Try to understand that other people have their waters that they're wading through too. In fact, many days those waters might seem to be awful brown and yucky. Okay? We all wade through it. Every one of us. And the least thing we can do as humans is respect one another and understand that each of us has our trials. Each of us go through our storms. And we have to understand that. Once we start listening to understand instead of listening to reply, this problem will fix itself. Okay? I'm telling you, it will fix itself. Because people lash out like this when they feel like they have nothing else they can do. Okay? There's a lot of people that out there, they'll say, well, if you've got a problem, come talk to me. Come talk to me. Well, you know what? Believe it or not, sometimes just being that ear is not enough. Sometimes you got to go above and beyond just being that ear. Sometimes maybe you got to stick up for somebody. Sometimes maybe you got to get your hands dirty and help a brother or a sister out. Okay? And if the case was bullying here, I'm trying to give you a hypothetical situation here. If the case was truly indeed bullying here, then maybe somebody needed to step up and kick the hell out of a football player or whoever it was that was bullying them. Okay? But our current set of rules and the way our schools are ran is a failure. Okay? I've said it on the show before, and I'll say it. I'm going to say it now, and I'll keep saying it until people get it. Because my dad was right, along with many, many, many other dads out there. The difference between boys and men is boys will roll around in a ditch and bloody each other's nose. Men will kill one another. Now you think about that. What we are doing is we essentially are turning boys into men. How are we doing that? Because we are taking their power away. There is no middle ground anymore. When one kid's getting bullied by another kid, he doesn't do anything because he doesn't want to get in trouble. Sure, it could be because he's scared of getting his butt beat. But now you've taken the ability of a father which of many are not even in the home anymore, thanks government. You've taken that ability for them to settle the problem right up front, right? As boys, bloodying each other's nose, rolling around in a ditch. Okay? Because 9 times out of 10, you do that, the problem is not only just solved, but you're looking at 2 best friends after that happens. Now, what the hell could be wrong with that? My little Johnny had a bloody nose. We need to wake up. We need to wake up. Because what's happening is these kids are getting pushed and pushed and pushed, and they have no outlet. Why? Because they can't bloody their damn nose. Or they don't have a father figure in their life to know that they need to bloody their nose. And so let's say one breaks out and bloodies the other's nose. Next thing you know, he's in 9 kinds of hell and trouble. Because he did the right thing. Yes, I said it, the right thing. And so he gets pushed and pushed and pushed. Until one day, snap. So we can continue this bullshit of ignoring the problem for as long as we'd like. Or we can get in there and we can do something about it. But much like the country, much like the rest of government, it's going to take us. If we want to make our schools great again, it's going to take us. We're going to have to step up and say, no, we're not allowing you to run this liberal freak show anymore. And that's what it's going to take. Plain and simple. Look, I didn't mean to go into a rant, but this is an issue that gets me because I understand the issue. I get it. Because I'm not too busy trying to find guns or this or that or the other thing to blame. Everybody, every single one of us is susceptible to a mental crisis and a mental breakdown. Every single last one of us. And it doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you a human being. Anyway, that's what I've got for the monologue. Thank those that watch the monologue. And for those that watch the live show, hang on just a moment. While I tell those that just watch the monologue, God bless you. We love you and be one with your spirit.